Let's be honest. Most people aren't solitary by choice. They're alone because they've been rejected, hurt, or simply couldn't fit in. Deep down, they'd do almost anything to change that. But Sigma males are different. They don't just endure solitude, they flourish in it. While the rest of the world clings to superficial relationships, obligatory socializing, and insincere gestures, the Sigma male walks his own path. It's not that he's antisocial or incapable of forming connections. It's that he sees through the falsehoods most friendships are built on. Experts claim humans are wired for companionship, that we need relationships to thrive. But for a Sigma, survival isn't the goal. Mastery is. Growth is. And most friendships only hinder that. Let's break it down. No fluff, no cliches, just the real reasons why Sigma males keep their inner circles exceptionally small. Reason 1. They see through people effortlessly. Most individuals are full of contradictions. What they say, what they do, and what they truly desire rarely align. An average person might miss this, but a Sigma notices instantly. When someone feigns confidence but is riddled with self-doubt, he knows. When a supposed friend acts supportive but harbors resentment, he senses it. When someone laughs at his jokes but secretly wishes for his failure, it's glaringly obvious. This isn't some supernatural ability, it's simply keen observation. While others are busy talking to impress, a Sigma is quietly analyzing, dissecting people like a complex puzzle. And here's the thing. Once you see people for who they truly are, it's impossible to pretend. Most friendships rely on mutual illusions, the unspoken pact. I'll ignore your flaws if you ignore mine. But Sigmas don't play along. They won't fake interest, nod politely, or smile when they see weakness. This honesty makes others uneasy. Nobody wants to be around someone who mirrors their insecurities. Nobody wants a friend who speaks the truth without hesitation. So the Sigma male faces a choice: blend in and compromise, or stand alone and stay true to himself. He always chooses the latter. Reason 2. They despise small talk and shallow connections. Let's face it, most friendships lack depth. People chat, but they don't communicate. They text, but they don't bond. They spend time together, but they don't enrich each other's lives. Sigmas have no patience for this. They couldn't care less about social media trends, gossip, or trivial updates. They avoid meaningless conversations like the plague. If a discussion isn't profound, authentic, or intellectually engaging, they lose interest. This is where many misunderstand them. It's not that Sigmas dislike people or struggle socially. They can be incredibly charismatic when they choose to be. But they view friendship as something meaningful, something that should elevate you, not drain you. A true friend, in their eyes, should challenge your thinking, inspire growth, and earn your trust. Unfortunately, such connections are rare. Most people talk to fill the void, afraid of their own silence. To a Sigma, this is a red flag. He'd rather sit quietly with his thoughts than waste time on empty interactions. So, when invited to superficial gatherings, events meant for appearances, not substance, he declines. He disappears. Because to him, time is precious, and he won't squander it on trivialities. Reason 3. They don't seek external approval. Many friendships are less about connection and more about validation. Consider this. Why do people constantly share their lives online? Why do they crave likes, comments, and affirmation? Why do they surround themselves with yes men instead of those who challenge them? Because deep down, they need external proof of their worth. Sigmas don't operate this way. They don't care if others like them. They don't care if their views are unpopular. They don't care if they're misunderstood. Their self-worth comes from within, not from others. This independence is intimidating. A man who doesn't seek approval, who remains unfazed by criticism, who isn't chasing fame or status that's a threat to the status quo. Most people rely on reassurance. They need crowds. They need validation. A Sigma doesn't. He walks his own path, indifferent to whether others follow. And that's why he's often alone. Most friendships are built on insecurity, and Sigmas have no use for that. Reason 4. They reject social games. Many friendships are superficial, governed by unspoken rules and hidden agendas. Compliment someone to gain their favor. Pretend interest in their stories to keep the peace. Agree with their opinions, even when they're wrong, to avoid conflict. Sigmas don't play these games. They don't sugarcoat the truth. They don't pretend to like people they don't respect. They don't laugh at bad jokes to spare feelings. This honesty often earns them labels like cold or distant. But the truth is, they're just authentic. If they don't like you, you'll know. If they don't respect you, they won't pretend otherwise. If they feel you're wasting their time, they'll walk away. No fake smiles, no small talk. This makes people uncomfortable. Society thrives on politeness, not honesty. Most prefer gentle lies over harsh truths. A Sigma doesn't care about egos. He won't play along with social charades just to keep the peace. And that's why most can't handle being around him for long. He forces them to confront their own flaws, and that's something many can't bear. Reason 5, they aren't afraid of solitude. Most people form friendships out of fear. Fear of loneliness, fear of exclusion, fear of facing their own thoughts. Sigmas don't share these fears. They've spent hours, days, even weeks in silence. They've mastered their own minds. They don't need crowds for validation. They don't need distractions to escape themselves. They don't seek company just to avoid being alone. This independence is dangerous to the social order. If everyone were like this, the system would crumble. Society depends on people craving approval, attention, and connection. It keeps them controllable, but a Sigma is untouchable. No one can bribe him with status. No one can manipulate him with loneliness. No one can guilt him into compliance. He's already faced isolation, and it only made him stronger. Reason 6, they have zero tolerance for mediocrity. Most people let anyone into their lives as long as they're entertaining or easy to be around. Not Sigmas. Their standards are uncompromising. If you're fake, you're out. If you're negative, you're out. If you're draining, you're out. They'd rather have no friends than settle for toxic ones. This sets them apart. Most cling to harmful relationships out of fear of being alone. Sigmas cut ties without hesitation. They understand that your circle either lifts you up or drags you down. The people around you either inspire growth or drain your energy. Sigmas choose wisely. They don't form friendships to fill a void. They form them because someone genuinely adds value to their life. And because of this, they often end up with very few connections. Reason 7, they're unpredictable. Most people are easy to read. Their emotions, actions, and thoughts follow predictable patterns. Sigmas don't. One day they're silent. The next, they're sharing profound insights. One moment, they're part of a group. The next, they've vanished for weeks. One year, they're thriving. The next, they've reinvented themselves entirely. This unpredictability confuses people. Humans crave certainty. They like knowing what to expect. But a Sigma is an enigma even to those who've known him for years. In a world that fears the unknown, this makes him isolated. Reason 8, they value quality over quantity in every aspect of life. Most people measure their social success by the number of friends they have, the size of their network, or the frequency of their interactions. Sigmas couldn't care less about these metrics. To them, a single meaningful connection is worth more than 100 superficial ones. They don't collect friends like trophies or seek out relationships for the sake of appearances. Instead, they invest deeply in the few who prove themselves worthy of their time and energy. This mindset extends beyond friendships. It applies to their goals, their work, and their passions. They'd rather master one skill than dabble in many. They'd rather achieve one significant goal than chase countless trivial ones. This focus on quality over quantity sets them apart in a world obsessed with volume and visibility. Most people spread themselves thin, trying to be everywhere and please everyone. Sigmas, on the other hand, channel their energy into what truly matters. They understand that depth brings fulfillment, while breadth often leads to emptiness. And because of this, they often stand apart, not because they're incapable of fitting in, but because they refuse to dilute their standards for the sake of belonging. Here's the reality. If you refuse to be fake, if you refuse to tolerate mediocrity, if you refuse to live for others' approval, you will be alone. That's the cost of being a Sigma. The world doesn't reward independent thinkers. It rewards conformity. But a Sigma doesn't need the system. He's free. So the question is, can you handle the solitude? Because if you can, you'll gain something most never will: absolute, unshakable freedom. That's all in this video, soldiers. If you like the video, consider subscribing to the channel. See you all in the next video, soldiers.